All right, let's talk about something that drives so many new investors crazy. That feeling that you're doing everything right, but building wealth is just so incredibly slow at the start. It's this exact feeling, this frustration, that makes a ton of people give up. And usually it's right before things are about to get really good.
I mean, that really is the million-dollar question, right? You're doing all the things you're supposed to do, but when you look at your account, the results just feel, well, kind of underwhelming. And that discouragement, it's totally real. So today, we're going to dig into the actual math behind this slow start. And more importantly, I'm going to give you a brand new target to aim for that completely changes the game.
Okay, so let's start with a story that probably sounds a little too familiar. I call it the investor's grind. This is that first, frustrating phase where it feels like all your effort is just disappearing into a black hole.
You know the drill. You're being super disciplined, you're saving every single month, cutting back where you can, setting up those automatic transfers. You're making real sacrifices to put money away for your future.
And you're making the smart play. You're not just letting that cash sit in a savings account doing nothing. No, you're putting it to work in the market, maybe in some index funds, and you're expecting it to grow, as you should. But then you check your balance after a whole year. A year of being good, of saving, of investing. And what do you see? The needle has barely budged. The growth is so tiny, it's almost laughable. And you start thinking, did all that hard work even matter? It's super frustrating, and honestly, this is exactly where that little voice of doubt starts to creep in.
So what gives? Is the whole system rigged against the little guy? Not at all. The real reason for this painfully slow start is this powerful but often misunderstood idea, the compounding paradox. This is where the magic is supposed to happen, but it takes a while to warm up. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It says, compounding does almost nothing in the beginning, which is why most people quit before the explosion phase. We're all wired for instant gratification, right? We want to see results now. But compounding is totally backloaded. All the big, exciting, explosive growth happens after a long, quiet period. And the tragedy is, most people get impatient and quit during that quiet part.
And here's where our brains get tripped up. See, we're naturally wired to think in a straight line, linear thinking. You put in $1, your account goes up by $1. Simple, predictable. But investing, that follows an exponential curve. And if you look at one of those curves, it starts out almost completely flat. It feels like nothing is happening for a long, long time. And then it starts to curve upwards, accelerating faster and faster as your money literally starts making its own money.
So the big question is there a specific moment where that flat line starts to feel, well, a lot less flat and a lot more like a rocket ship? And the answer is yes, absolutely. There is a milestone, a tipping point, where the entire dynamic of building your wealth flips on its head, and it's called the activation point.
So what exactly is this activation point? Think of it as that magical crossover moment. It's the point where your investment portfolio starts generating more growth all by itself than you are putting in from your own savings. Let me say that again. It's when your money officially starts working harder than you do.
So what's the magic number? What are we aiming for here? Well, for most people, that activation point happens right around the $100,000 mark. Just think of that number, $100,000. It's the first and honestly the hardest summit you have to climb on your journey to building real wealth.
And hitting that number, man, it changes everything. It's not just a psychological boost. This is where the math of your financial life literally flips in your favor. It's where all that grinding you did in the beginning finally starts to pay off big time. Let's break it down like this. Before you hit that 100K mark, guess who's doing all the heavy lifting? You are. Your personal contributions, your savings, that's the main engine pushing your net worth up. But after you cross that magic threshold, the roles completely reverse. Your money takes over. It becomes the primary engine of your growth. Let's look at a quick example to see what this actually looks like. Okay, let's say you're a great saver and you're putting away $10,000 a year. When your total portfolio is only at, say, $25,000, your 10 grand contribution is obviously the biggest part of your growth that year. But fast forward. Now your portfolio is at $125,000. Assuming a pretty standard 8% return, your portfolio can grow by $10,000 all on its own. That's matching your entire annual savings. And from that point on, it just gets more and more powerful. So what does this all mean for you?
right now. It means you need to completely reframe your goal. Seriously, your initial finish line isn't $1 million or that vague idea of retirement. No, it's something much closer, much more tangible, and way more critical.
So here's the game plan, the new path forward. First, forget about that giant, intimidating retirement number for now. Your one and only primary goal is to hit the activation point. Step 2, you need to treat this like a sprint. Focus every ounce of your financial energy, I'm talking saving aggressively, cutting costs, finding ways to boost your income, on getting to that $100,000 mark as fast as humanly possible. Because once you get there, you've built the machine. You've done the hard part. And you can finally let that compounding machine do the heavy lifting for you.
So the next time you feel that frustration, remember, that initial grind isn't a sign you're failing. It's the price of admission. It's the cost to get on the compounding rocket ship. Getting to that first $100,000 is, without a doubt, the hardest part of the entire journey. But now you know exactly why it's the most important milestone you'll ever hit. So the only real question left is, how are you going to get there?